How's it going, YouTube? Hi, Drax here, and in today's video we're going to be doing a small little discussion. Obviously from the thumbnail you do see which units you should choose. Specifically we're going to talk about which units you should choose to get a Zenkai. We all know from the Legends video and stuff that Toshi did say that they would be doing a community poll on which we vote on which unit is going to Zenkai next. I pulled up a couple of the units I think deserve a Zenkai in the game. Obviously this is going to differ from your opinion. There are a lot of options, but obviously we don't want to pick units that are too new or too good in certain respects, because we don't want to create another Goku and Vegeta type situation, another Vegeta Blue type situation, another DBS purple transforming Broly situation. I picked those specific 3 units because those are probably the biggest impacts units have had in the game and the meta as of late, Goku and Vegeta being the latest. But yeah, I did pick I believe 6 units on which I believe deserve a Zenkai. I did not pick any blue or purple units specifically because I believe we do not need any more blue or purple units getting Zenkais. That whole portion of the last month and a half, 2 months has come and gone with me seeing enough blue and purple units, especially in PvP and especially with mono purple. For the first unit I'm going to go with Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black, the original version of this guy. This is the first, I believe, Super Saiyan Rose Goku that ever released in the game, and he's quite old at this point. I believe he's coming up on 2 years, or he's already 2 years at this point. He did release alongside the LF SSB Vegeta, who's also in the running to get a LF Zenkai, hopefully real soon, because he is a fun unit to use. And the Vegeta family does need a good staple green unit right now. But yes, Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black is my pick, purely because God Ki does not have any real good red units. Obviously Corrupted Zamasu here is obviously the most prominent red unit that you can run, but he is an LF unit and he hasn't been back too many times, so having him at a high enough star level, I'm basing this off at and what the meta looks like right now. You need this guy at least 7 stars and up for him to be competitive and viable in today's meta, especially with the Super Saiyans and then Ultra Gogeta running around that does extra damage to powerful opponents. So this guy here definitely needs to be a real high star level to compete, and Rose, I believe getting a Zenkai would do that, because if we look at Rose, he fits on a multitude of tags: Future, God Ki Saiyan, Future Trunks Saga, but he does have a very good main ability which allows him to go type neutral for 30 counts, which would really help curve the Super Saiyan meta and reduce the reliance on Ultra Gogeta, because him being neutral allows him to do a huge amount of damage, especially with his ultimate. And the fact that he inflicts, let's see where it is, I believe it's here, inflict enemies with attribute downgrade plus 10% to damage received from tag God Ki or tag Future 3 times when battle begins. This here is very good. Basically you have a 30% debuff to you and you take 30% more damage. This in combination with him going type neutral is one of the reasons why he is extremely good. But as of right now he's extremely aged and he doesn't really fit anywhere on any team. I suppose you can use him as a bench unit for Z ability if you're running a strike based God Ki, because he does provide 35%. But other than that, he doesn't really have any position to play outside of that. And as for Future doesn't have any real red units. They fall in the same category as God Ki, being Corrupted Zamasu is obviously the best. Trunks Zama is really good, but you really don't want to use them. And then obviously the Smile is an EX, and by the time you actually get her to a good enough star level, she's practically power crept at that point. Other units that don't buff Future but are pretty decent, you can probably go with the Revival Cell, but I wouldn't really recommend it because he has fallen off a little bit, considering that blue is quite heavily dominant right now. So obviously Super Saiyan Rose Goku is one of my first choices purely because of God Ki. Obviously you can choose Super Saiyan God Goku, but at this point he's already a staple on the bench because of his Z ability for HP and crit. So obviously yeah, he's obviously always going to be there, so I would much rather have a more oppressive and more damage inclined unit to take his place. A second unit, also going to be another red unit, is going to be Super Android 13 or Fusion Android 13. We had this guy released a ton of time ago, like a really long time ago, back I think in the first year. He's a really good unit. He has a cover change, does increased damage to tag Super Saiyan, which would really help against the non-blue type Super Saiyans. He has a cover change against strike cards that combos into a blue card, and he's a very strong last man standing with a very powerful ult, and his main abilities is really good, restores health and ki by 30, so he's going to be working really well. This guy would really bring up the android tag just a little bit, because as we know, androids got their most recent buff with Android 21 getting a Zenkai. But if we look at the red units on the team that actually buff the team, there's only 3 real options. The EX doesn't really count. Cell has aged at this point and is practically irrelevant. This Android 18 was never really too good, so you don't really see her. The only real red option was Fusion 13 and maybe this Zenkai Cell. So having this Fusion 13 Zenkai would be really strong for this team, as they would finally have a red unit on their team. The next unit I'm going to speak about is going to be Hit, probably my strongest choice, purely because he's gonna really, he'll be by himself getting a Zenkai. He will eradicate the mono purple meta, because if you don't know what this guy does, he just gets crit basically on every point of his kit. The longer he stays in, the more crit he gets, but well, crit rate and crit damage. He's basically a Bardock a self Bardock that basically means he's going to really destroy units. Even up to this day, he still does insane amounts of damage with his crit. It's just that his defenses fall real short of being at the point meta or even decent. Look at that, 148,000, 144,000 and 14 stars. That's not really good. But if you look at his strike damage, 253k, that's a pretty decent considering how old this guy is. Blast damage is not that good. But another fact is that he would really be a shoe-in for his teams, being Rival Universe and Tag Universe 6. Obviously he doesn't buff Universe 6, but if you did want to run a Universe 6 tag unit, or well, a tag team I should say, you can really pop this guy in, because as it stands, Super Saiyan 2, Kale and Caulifla don't really fill any role on any team that they are on. They were basically a wasted release, and Topo coming from that same banner is actually pretty decent compared to them. These guys were meant to be very aesthetically pleasing to see their ult and green card and whatever else they do. But as for functionality, Hit would definitely be a much needed Zenkai to stop the mono purple meta and actually bring up the Rival Universe tag and the Universe 6 tag to being a little bit more relevant in PvP. The next unit is going to be Golden Frieza. This is the first anniversary Golden Frieza, and he's honestly the better of the two. Even though he's super old, I just really don't like the transforming Golden Frieza. He's really bad. The most apparent drawback from this Frieza is that he suffers from losing a lot of his buffs after 60 counts, which in this meta is really bad, and honestly he just doesn't have it in him to keep up with the game. His damage is mediocre at this point, and his defenses are quite pathetic, and once he reaches that 60 timer count, he's basically irrelevant, and honestly he's not even worth Rising Rush fodder at that point. You'd just rather just let him die. You'd rather just forfeit at that point if you're trying to use this guy. But he does stem really far from the normal types of units, because I believe this is the first time we actually saw a really anti-meta unit that released during a celebration, because as it stood, it was Super Saiyan Blue Goku. This guy countered that, and then Vegeta countered him, so he does stem away from that. And him being a green unit, Lineage of Evil specifically needs a green unit. I honestly believe this Frieza is really good, but honestly, I'd much rather have a Zenkai Golden Frieza than this first form Frieza here, because he does have an AoE ultimate and his blue card does a ton of damage, which is insane to think about, because if you look at the Lineage of Evil tag, we have basically a blue card spammer right here. He just prints blue cards all the time, and every unit on the Lineage of Evil tag can definitely use all those blue cards. I believe it also fit really nicely with the theme of Lineage of Evil being very blast based. This Frieza's blast based, this Frieza as well, and then full power. You got the red Frieza here, and then for blue obviously you have Cooler, but then you also have this final form Frieza coming out very soon, who's also blast based. So we're definitely going in a very blast based Lineage of Evil direction. So obviously I would like to see Golden Frieza. Another unit is going to be Android 14, another android. I believe androids deserve some buffs. It's been a very long time since they got really anything. Apart from Android 21, they haven't gotten buffs since Ranger 17 and Tracksuit 18. This guy was pretty decent when he came out. Once he popped his main ability, he did some insane amounts of strike damage with chance of fainting. But he has faded away quite a bit, honestly. With honestly, look at these stats, like 160k or 155k and then 186k to blast. This is really low. His strike damage is decent, I suppose, for being how old he is. But yeah, he would definitely improve the Android team very much, considering that we do need some more offensive androids. We do have Android 16 and Android 17 here, who are very good green androids. But having an offensive android like Android 14 would really be really good. Android 21 doesn't cut it anymore. First form Cell doesn't cut it. Even Android 16, while being pretty decent at a tank, he doesn't really hold up at all against the Goku variant of Goku and Vegeta. And with Super Vegeta running around, he's definitely gonna get cut down in half by Super Vegeta. So yeah, so he doesn't really fit that bill. But yes, Android 14 is another pick. Not a very popular pick for me. I don't think anybody would want to see this guy get a Zenkai, but he is a pick I think would benefit androids the most outside of maybe Fusion 13. And then the final Zenkai that I would love to see, and I've been advocating for this for so long, it's become a meme at this point, Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi deserves a Zenkai. This is the only real representation of Chi-Chi, I believe, in the game that's actually usable, because we do have the EX version of her that is purple, but it's not at a level where you can actually run that unit in the PvP. You can use them in PvE, but this unit here is far and above better than that unit. She has a ult, she nullifies, she goes type neutral 15 counts. She does extra damage against tag Son family, and guess who's a tag Son family unit? Goku and Vegeta. She would do really well against the Goku and Vegeta, being a type green unit. She can hold off the Vegeta variant and do increased damage against the Goku variant. She does have a little bit of a support passive in her kit for the girls units, where she gets 50 ki upon entering if there's another girl battle member. She has increased blast damage and increased ki recovery. She does have a force swap out, which is really really good, and she has +5 to substitution count if an tag Son family unit is an enemy, which is really really good. Her blue card isn't that great, but it's honestly not that bad either. Her ultimate has 20% chance to faint, and she does buff girls double, well, strike attack and defense, I suppose. Yeah, so she should be a really good Zenkai, because if we look at the girls tag at one point used to be the best team in the game. Back when Videl, Chi-Chi, and I think Bulma, I believe these three were the first girl units to drop in the game as a summonable unit. Obviously Pan was the first. This trio used to be absolutely busted because of Videl being an absolute Chad at the time, and honestly I believe SSJ2 Gohan had released and he was a type purple unit. And if you look into this Videl's kit, she does extra damage against tag Gohan units, which was a huge deal at the time. and a huge upset in the meta because she basically invalidated Gohan if you ran into her. This Chi-Chi used to handle any other tags on family units, and this Bulma here used to be a very good Dragon Ball farmer. But if we look at the girls tag, there isn't a real usable green unit. Kefla is really old at this point, she's almost 2 years old. Good Android 21 was good upon release, but she's really fallen away quite a bit. So Chi-Chi having a Zenkai would be really good. And then let's look at the other units. You got Red Kefla, you got Caulifla here. Another good unit to have would probably be Kale. Kale would be another nice Zenkai. You have Android 21, Ribrianne. The girls tag is a meme at this point. They don't really release them to actually be good. They release them to basically just get their sales up with selling sexuality. So yeah, it would be really nice to see the girls tag actually get a proper team together, because as it stands, the only real team that can run here is Android 18, blue Android 21, and then the purple Android 21 down here in the bottom, which at that point is just basically androids as it stands. It would be nice to see girls really get a good team, because it would be a real change from having the usual Saiyans and Super Saiyan units running around, similar to having androids back in the lineup, as well as Lineage of Evil. And let's get some rival universe buffs going, because let's face it, Hit is going to be really good for a really long time. It's might as well just Zenkai him now so he gets power crept in the future. But anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think of the units I picked. Obviously I did pick some controversial units, mainly being the Android 14, but the other units I do believe are very solid options that will impact the meta quite heavily, and obviously shift things into a more stable environment where we can all enjoy our favorite teams. Because let's face it, it's not fun running against Mono Purple every day, it's not fun running against Super Saiyans every day, and with how PvP has degenerated it with not having stable connections, cheaters, and how often inputs are not really read, I believe it's time that the game itself started to change. Instead of having 1 or 2 dominant teams that last for 3 months, I think it's time to bring everything to equilibrium back, like how it was during the first year of the game, where you could run literally any team and you could have fun, enjoy yourself, and push the ranks. But anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. My name is Hydrax. I'll catch you in the next one.